Hey everyone. Welcome to the second segment of our January webinar. I'm Ellen Judy, your PLC lead for high school dance on the Godot Communities website. In this webinar, I'm focusing on stretching, strengthening, and other conditioning for our dancers. Segment 1 focused on stretching and balancing. This segment is going to focus on core strength. So I'll go through some core strengthening exercises. I did a semi-long intro into all of this for segment 1, which I don't want to do again. So if you missed that one, just go back to the segment 1 for the intro. It talks about my yoga experience and just how I do this. So anyway, if you need to see that, go back to there. We're going to get right to it. If I am doing my stretch, strengthening, conditioning yoga class with the dancers, I would have already done a bit of a warm-up before I go into these exercises. You can see I go through that quite quick on the segment 1 with the warm-up. But again, I will drop a list of what we're doing here in this segment in the document section. Another thing, as we do these exercises, I always like to remind the dancers to use their breath. And I remind them frequently. I always say that I should hear some breathing. If I don't, then I usually ask the question, are you breathing? And there's generally a collective sigh, because no, they were indeed holding their breath. And I remember being a young dancer holding my breath too, so that is not uncommon. But if we're stretching and using our core, we really need to use that breath. Yes. Oh, and in my yoga training, I was trained to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. So again, that's your preference, how you want to do that. And I know with breathing in and breathing out for some of these core exercises, some people will say it really matters which breath you're doing. So are you exhaling on the way up? Are you inhaling? I mean, if that's important to you, then yes, by all means, do that. Sometimes I think with the younger kids, it's just a little bit easier to just make sure they're breathing rather than like inhale on this part, exhale on that part. Of course, with some of my more advanced dancers, I do that. But I myself take Pilates, and I do have one of the instructors that I really like, and she says it doesn't matter just as long as you're breathing. So different take on that. Okay, so some of the floor work that I do for strengthening core strength, of course, plank. We all know. I'm going to take these off. Plank. And I generally have them go into, hands and knees first, tucking the toes under, and then walking back one leg at a time, and then making sure that the core is lifted. A lot of the times they'll want to do this or they'll want to do this, and then pressing their shoulders down. Of course, sometimes this hurts my wrist as well, so you know that you can come down here on your forearms. And sometimes we can go rock back and forth. If you have some stronger dancers that want to focus on that, I can press into the heels and rocking. So those are our planks. Full lunge into plank. Okay, so I'll be into the full lunge. So we go here. I usually start with the right foot back, but that's again just my preference. And then I'll have them put their hands down on the floor and then step back into the plank. I'll hold that. Again, if you have dancers who need to come down onto their forearms, that's fine. Bring it up. And then I'll switch legs. I'll bring it back into the full lunge. And here again, this is a right angle. They're still lifting in the core. And I'll do this a couple times. So then I'll step back into the plank again. We'll hold that. And then we'll switch again. And then you can always add other stretches if you'd like. All right, side plank with wrists or elbows. So getting into that, we can go from a full plank if we want, and then just opening up one side. They can hold their hands here or reach up this way. And again, if you need to modify this leg can come down as well. This can be here. You can also do this on your forearm, although this feels really weird. So here they can support themselves here if they're on their elbows. Woo, working out. Side plank with the one leg balance. So again here, that can be here, whatever you want it to be, that one leg. Let me get my bones. Yeah, and then they'll want to sag here, so you got to keep that lifted as well. Yeah, arm up if you one. That's the one balance. And, let me take a breath. I'm doing these on one side, but you absolutely know that you would do them on both sides. Boat to table. So this is a fun one. So boat or coccyx balance. So, and you can decide if you want to do that full coccyx balance, if you want these shins parallel to the floor, if you want them here, or they can just take a balance here with the arms. Then this is the boat, and then they'll put their hands down, put their feet down, and then press up into the table. And opening the chest, this will stretch the shoulders as well, lifting the hips up, taking the focus up to the ceiling. And then we move through here. So then we sit down, we go to the balance, and we keep moving. So I usually do an inhale, and then I'll do an exhale. And you can give, do 5 of them, do 6 of them, whatever. Sometimes I don't count. I just sort of, say, okay, you go at your own speed, and I'll give them a little time, and then I'll say, okay, everybody, the last time, hold this one, and then we'll be done. Cat-cow with extended leg balances. So you can do a couple different things with this one. You can have this here, and I start out parallel. They'll want to your advanced dancers are going to say, look at my leg, it gets so high. No, knee to the floor, and it's just about the reaching from the head to the toe. And you can bring this in a contraction. I would say nose to knee, and then extend out. And again, they don't want to extend up here. You want to keep that flat back. So exhaling, inhaling if you're going to worry about which breath you want to do. Then I can also add the opposite arm. So then we can go here. Sometimes I'll just hold this, and then I'll switch. Or you can have it moving. So you're here, and in, and here. Usually I'll do it this way. I'll keep alternating, and then after we've done a couple of them, then I'll be like, okay, hold the balance here. This is hard for some of the kids, so you got to press the shin, because a lot of them will want to do this. So press the shin into the floor, and of course we're all built different, so maybe some kids can't get their whole shin on the floor, but if we think about pressing that in, holding the core, and I always think about reaching fingertip to the front wall, toe to the back wall, and I'll have them hold the balance. So that's the cat-cow with extended leg balances. This one they hate. I'm not sure how I feel about it either, but we start here. I always have them with their flex foot, so we're engaging the quad muscles. My heels come off the floor, but not everyone's do. So I'll start here. I'll have them inhale, and then we'll roll down vertebrae by vertebrae. This one gets hard too for them because a lot of them will want to go here, so they have to really press the low back onto the floor. Sorry. Pull a lot of it. And then we come back up. I'm not going to be able to do this, but you get the idea. You roll up the whole way, and then I'll have them sit up. And then exhaling down. I usually do like a slow 8 count, a slow 8, and really try to have them, not go down in 4. If I say we're counting in 8, go the whole way down in 8, and then come back up in 8. Our one leg crisscross. So now we're on the floor. We can extend that bottom leg. Depending on how you want to hold this, you can have the hand on the outside of the ankle and the other hand on the bottom of the knee. And then I usually have them lifted up, nose to sternum. And then we can just have this lifted a little bit. And then we switch. And I can pull it in a little bit. You can do it that way and have them keep their heads and shoulders up. Variation on this would be to have the hands behind the head and have that side twist. I always think about extending the leg out and switching and keeping the elbows out a little bit and reaching towards the knee. And my philosophy for all this, well, I guess it's not my philosophy, it's probably Joseph Pilates' philosophy, is to do it slowly, methodically, and thoughtfully, intentionally, rather than, yeah, that's the way. I don't like to teach stuff fast like that. I think I would rather them do 4 or 6 very slow, controlled things rather than do something fast and crazy. Let's see, the double leg stretch. That's having the ankle, and again, some of them might have to hold here. So I'm stretching this leg out, my shoulders are up. It's a little pull here, and then we switch. Pull, and pull. Again, honestly, I just have my shoulders up, so I have to remind myself and them. So that's the double leg. And again, this should be pressing into the floor as well. So that's the double leg. From there, you can do the leg lower, lowering down to a comfortable position where they can keep their low back on the floor because you don't want them to come up here. Alternative or modification for that is to put the hands under the sacrum up here, and then they can support. It's a lot easier that way. And, if they can only go a couple inches, they can only go a couple inches. They're going to want to touch down, but then that's going to happen. So just a little, as far as they can go without having that low back come up. One other thing that we do, and I don't know on the mat, so I'm going to do the mat in an X. So we're in our X shape, so my feet here. Yep, and then I'm thinking side body. So I'm thinking elbow to knee. I contract in here. I'm really bringing the core in, nose towards the knee, and then just back out, but really using the core. And what I will do from here back, what I'll do is I'll do it ever so faster. So we'll go, maybe this is 8 counts, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, back 8, a couple times, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and back, and then I'll do it in 2s, and then I'll do it in 1s. And if you're continuously doing it, it's getting in there. It's getting in those abs. So yeah, that's some of the core work that I do. So for next segment, we're just going to be doing some other cross-training ideas, just some other exercises that I do with them to strengthen. All right, I will see you then.